On this episode of the Procedurally Generated Show, Ethan goes fast, Shannon still doesn't play Warframe, and Tony gets a little wild. We talk about some of the biggest news stories and then take a look back at the year that was 2018. Howdy, everybody. Welcome to the Procedurally Generated Show. I'm your host, Tony, and joining me this week, I got Ethan.
Hi, Tony.
What's going on? You are getting yourself in trouble, sir.
It's worth it.
Shannon called us a bad word for that intro.
Well, it's his own fault. All he has to do is play the game with us.
It's true, Shannon. It's true.
Is this my introduction?
It
Am I
is.
really being introduced by being goaded about not playing Warframe?
Yep, totally.
All right. Well, I'm still not playing Warframe, and all I did was call you a dirtbag. I don't know how that's too terrible.
That's a bad word,
I
man.
mean, there's no laws against it.
It's true. It's true.
You know what? I'm not going to play Warframe. It's probably just not going to happen. At this point, I'm standing on my principle that I shall not play Warframe, no matter how good you make it sound. I'm not doing it.
I did play Warframe this week.
I could not have imagined how that happened. How in the world did you go a week and play Warframe? It just blows my mind.
At this point, you're going to be blown away when I get onto the show and say, hey, I didn't play Warframe this week.
You know what? You want to surprise me? You want to genuinely take me off guard? That's a way to do it.
And then he'll say he played Destiny instead.
Yep.
Other Warframe.
Yeah,
Shannon,
not Warframe.
Shannon, if it makes you feel any better, if you played Warframe, we could switch to level 1 Warframes on there and be the same level as you and everything.
Yep.
I think I had my Destiny fill with Destiny 1. I bought Destiny 2, and then it went PlayStation Plus the week after I bought Destiny 2.
Yeah, don't
So I haven't played Destiny 2 on principle. So
That's
I don't
just
know.
wasting money is what that is.
Well, you know what? I feel burned. I was super upset that it went free a week after I bought it. I was really salty.
Well, you could just play the game that's always been free.
No, because now I don't have the content.
No, you got the content when you bought it.
I thought I'm missing
The-
like a ton of stuff.
You're missing the new stuff, but other than that, you have everything up to Forsaken.
All right, it'd be a whole lot easier to talk me
I
into
think
playing
you have
Destiny.
that. I don't know.
It'd be a whole lot easier to talk me into playing Destiny 2 than it would be to talk me into Warframe. So
Warframe's free and it updates. There's no paid DLC.
Yeah.
am I going to feel at a disadvantage by not paying money?
No,
No.
not at all. Because I haven't dropped a dime on the game. Ethan, I think you've maybe spent a little bit of money, but that's on. Well, I guess all that stuff that you bought on the PC would have transferred over to the Switch.
Yeah, too bad the stuff I actually bought was on PS4
Oh.
using a 20% discount code.
Yeah,
All right.
but no,
Nintendo-
Shannon, there's not any chance that you're going to feel at a disadvantage because you're not spending money on Warframe.
What is the system that the cool kids are playing on?
Well, I'm playing on Switch, but I also have it on PS4.
I have it on everything but Xbox One because of data storage.
So does your account transfer between Switch and PS4?
No.
No, it does not.
You could transfer your data from the PC to Switch, I think, one time.
Yes.
And I don't know if
And
they're still doing that. Maybe? Maybe
They're
not.
they're working on, I think, trying to get it so that they could eventually have it so that your stuff will cross over. But right now, because the Switch is a little behind the other systems in terms of content, they couldn't do that. Um, but that's coming
Yeah, once that
next year.
happens,
So
I'm gonna pull all my stuff from PS3 to everything else.
All right, I am at store.playstation.com. Warframe.
but while you're doing that,
Also, they have free stuff for being a PS Plus member. And if you're Twitch Prime, you get more free stuff.
that's true. If you have Twitch Prime, you can get a free Warframe.
And if you have Amazon Prime, then you have Twitch Prime. You just need to link it up.
I do have Twitch Prime.
Yep.
Yeah. What game have you been playing that's not Warframe?
Okay, let me close this tab. I am playing Dragon Quest XI.
I've heard of this.
I'm inching closer and closer to breaking down and getting this game.
You're inching closer and closer to breaking down. Maybe my fault because I keep sending you messages throughout the week about this game.
Probably. But I am more than happy to answer any questions you have about Dragon Quest. So,
Well, I've had some moments this week where I've run into stuff that I just didn't know anything about. So like I had no idea what mini metals were. I just knew that I kept finding them places and didn't know what I was using them for or where to use them.
yeah, and if you haven't run into the place where you can use them, then you would never know because it's not mentioned outside of that.
Yeah, I think I have found 4 of them so far, and I don't see like there's no visible counter that I have discovered in my bag or like on my character person that's, you know, saying, hey, here's where they are. So I'm assuming it'll be like finding the casino in any other JRPG where you just go, oh, hey, here's where your token counter is. You only see it in the casino. That kind of thing.
Great God's Casino, yeah.
And have you run into the casino in Dragon Quest XI?
Oh, I didn't know there was a casino in Dragon Quest XI.
There totally is.
Okay.
All the Dragon Quest games have a casino in them.
Okay, I was using that because that's like Ni no Kuni. Like there's a completely different currency system in Ni no Kuni that is only that only counts in the casino. So like you trade your money for this other currency.
Yeah. Yeah, but there totally is a casino, and you'll get to that eventually.
Okay. I think it's totally worth pointing out that when I spoke of Dragon Quest XI last week, I hadn't even run into the intro movie. So I had met last week when I talked about this. I had met Eric, who is like my first party member in the game, but I hadn't broken him out of the hairy situation that him and I were both in the very beginning of the game. When I finally did, 4 hours into playing the game, I finally got the intro movie, and I thought it was absolutely bananas that they hid that whole 4-minute. It was like an anime intro, like the kind of thing that you see at the beginning of a 30-minute anime, but it was hidden 4 hours into the game. It was like, okay, you're done playing the tutorial, the game has started.
Yeah,
I thought that was very silly that it took that long to get to it.
Is that how long it took you to press start?
I still wonder if I pressed start. I didn't know if there was a casino. I didn't know there was a casino until just now. So
to be fair, I could listen to that opening fanfare for 4 hours and never hit the start button. So
it's great. I am amazed with the music. I see a real separation between some tracks that are clearly orchestrated and some that aren't. But
like that opening fanfare has been around since the beginning of that series, and it gets better every single time.
It sounds great, and I've played like there have been a couple of nights where instead of having the surround sound on, I'm listening with like the wireless PlayStation headphones, and it sounds even better having it that close to my ear holes. So let's see. I finally did like my first pet power, which is I think a new thing in Dragon Quest for these. Basically, like in the battle system, you have just a random chance. You're constantly building this hidden meter that you know nothing about. With every successful,
it's pep, I think.
Yeah, it's your pet meter that is not shown to the player, so you never know when it's going to be full. You just know when you're pepped up. Your character, your attacks do more damage. You have a higher critical hit rate, but it only lasts until it's gone. Like there's no meter saying you have 3 turns or 5 turns, or you know when it's almost over because your character's like the aura around your character will start to flash, so you know it's almost over.
Yeah, I watched a video about Dragon Quest XI today, and that was one of the things they talked about was the pep system and how in the Japanese version it's called the character gets in the zone and it's
in the
not
zone,
called
yeah. Yeah, I saw. I think it was Tim Rogers, the Kotaku video he did for Dragon Quest XI. He made that comparison about how much cooler it is to just be in the zone, and he compared it to like pachinko players. How you sit down in front of a pachinko machine and you play pachinko until you finally fall into the zone and you make the money, like that kind of. I was like that's a pretty good comparison. I don't know why the heck it's just called you're pepped up.
That's a weird change from the Japanese version.
Yeah, but the pet powers are like with your other, if you have more than one party member that's pepped up at the same time, you kind of do these combo attacks. So or it might be like a special ability that heals the whole party, but you can only do it when 2 or 3 people are pepped up together. You basically expend all of your pet power in one big move. So stuff's really cool. Now that we got that lovely trailer from Square Enix, I have no idea how much I want to dive into this, continue playing this game. I really want to keep playing it, but now that it's
we'll get to that in the news.
Okay. Should I talk about the big thing that I ran into this week that I sent you messages about online while I was in a store?
I mean, yeah, you can.
Okay. I think at the Game Exchange in Dyersburg, Tennessee, somebody traded in their entire Dragon Quest collection all at once.
Wow.
Like that is almost unheard of. Very, very rarely do I see Dragon Quest games used on the shelves. And even if I do, it's 1 or 2 maybe.
Yeah, I walked into that Game Exchange, and they had Dragon Quest Monsters, Dragon Quest 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 on 3DS, and 9. All of them on the shelf, complete with box artwork, manuals. The cartridges looked like they had never been touched. Like I kind of went stupid and bought like 5 years worth of RPGs all in one go. So
nice.
That's one of those things that if I had the money and saw that on the shelf, I would snatch it up in a second. Because most of those games I don't have physically, I have the digital versions of them. Mm-hmm. And so that's a series I would love to have the entire thing sitting on the shelf.
Yeah, the main thing that pushed me towards it was the fact that I've looked at this stuff on eBay and looking at it on eBay in the store, I'm like, Dragon Quest VI, it was such a small run as far as what Square Enix actually produced. Those games used are like $70, but in Game Exchange it was like $30. So it was very hard, complete with the box, manual, cartridge in great shape. It was hard for me to turn that stuff down.
Mm-hmm. And I don't think I've ever seen a copy of the Monsters games sitting on the shelves.
Yeah, you said it's like a crossover with Pokemon.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm definitely down to give that a shot at some point. So
yeah, like that game is all about collecting monsters and breeding monsters and doing things like that. There's of course the RPG surrounding it, but it is very much a Pokemon style game.
Cool. Yeah, I have a very very good feeling, especially with a new baby on the way. There's not going to be a whole lot of game purchases in the next year, so having a deep library of strong, long RPGs to fill my appetite is not a bad thing.
Yeah, and because they're Dragon Quest games, they're not very action heavy, so you can play those while holding a sleeping baby.
There we go. But that is it for me. It's just all Dragon Quest all the time.
Well, that is not anything to be sad about.
Nope.
So, well, Ethan, what about you? What have you been playing this week?
Stop me if you've heard this one before.
Okay,
Sonic Adventure.
I haven't heard that.
Nope.
Really?
I mean, I've heard that name before.
So this is what happens when you talk to Nathan too much.
Uh-oh.
He has been posting a lot of Sonic stuff in the Facebook group this week.
Yes, and he started sending me messages on Facebook as well. So we talked a lot of Sonic. I'm thinking about doing a stream on Christmas, which would be probably be the day this episode's going up, I guess.
Okay.
I've been playing I played the Dreamcast version today as of this recording.
Hmm.
Testing out, making sure I could get everything working. My HD TV only has HDMI ports now, and Dreamcast doesn't have a HDMI cable. And if there's some kind of cable for it, I don't know about it. So I ended up with a converter box thing for it,
Okay.
and it actually worked out quite nicely. Uh,
Nice.
Uses the what is it called? Uh, Component or composite? Which one's the red?
Component is the higher ones. Composite's the red, white, yellow.
Okay, yeah. So it does the composite conversion to HDMI,
Okay.
and running that into my HDMI splitter so I can also stream it and play it on TV at the same time was nice. And I also had to go through some loops, we'll call it, to get the Christmas DLC added on there as well. Which
So,
which is something you had to go into the originally had to get on Sonic Adventure and then hit the internet option on there, and it would dial up the Dreamcast. It would dial up on your network and then connect to the Dreamcasts, whatever, and you could download this thing onto your VMU. And I'm 120% sure this service no longer exists. And I don't have dial-up. I do have an Ethernet adapter, and it still wouldn't connect.
hmm.
So I had to go through some loops to get the information on there, but I got it.
And you're gonna stream that on Christmas?
Yeah, it doesn't change much. You just see like Christmas trees in some places, really.
Ah, okay.
And whenever you touch them, it says "Merry Christmas" on the screen. It has like a little message. It even says "Happy Y2K" at one point, I think, or going into year 2000. And it starts
Nice.
playing some weird Christmas song. I couldn't really hear it too well. I was like, all right, that's weird, and went on my way. So yeah, I'm gonna stream that on Christmas. So look forward to that, I guess.
Okay.
But the more interesting thing was a little thing I did with Jason on my stream the other day called Death Trips.
What is this?
What is this?
It is a free to play PC game that's about 250 megabytes, I think.
Okay.
I told him to look nothing up. I sent him a link, said download this file and install it. Nothing shady about that, right?
I'd be a little worried.
So get him to share his screen with me, and then I share his stream through my stream. And you're a detective, and you're investigating the you're investigating some kind of killer, and unfortunately, the killer is still in the building where you're investigating. And you start out in the lobby. You can walk around. There's a radio. You found a pair of keys. You can look at stuff. Look out windows. You go on the elevator, and it takes you up to a hallway. The hallway is completely pitch black until you step off, and then it lights up.
Yeah.
Just like each light in front of you, respectively, going down the hall. It gets to the last light, and there's a figure just standing there. And then she starts running at you, screaming. And the video is still on my stream. Jason may have said a few choice words.
No.
And the entire thing lasted about 7 minutes, and two minutes was us me delaying so people could watch the stream live, which no one did. But that's fine. The video's still great. Uh, she starts running at you, and then she trips on a potted plant thing that's in the hallway, and it's like, all right, that's it. That's the game.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just one of those. Oh, okay, that's the killer, and she was running to kill me. Great.
Fantastic.
Cue credits, and there you go.
Game over.
It was pretty good. Yeah, he found keys and he didn't want to take time to figure out what door to go in, so he's like, "All right, I'm going for it. I'm just gonna run at the person and see what happens."
That would have been interesting to watch.
It was great. But yeah, that's all for me. Sorry, I had to sneak in another game in there. Just something more interesting than saying I'm gonna play Sonic Adventure on Christmas.
Yeah. No, that's all right. So let's see. I've been playing Warframe this week.
All
I don't know
right,
if you've.
I've
I'm
been
not going
looking
to talk
forward to
about
hear about this one.
that. I finished up one of the missions that I was on. Now I have to go do a bunch of other just random stuff to
Yeah,
unlock the area for the next mission that I can play.
and it's getting more difficult, right?
It is, yeah.
Have you switched frames yet?
Have I switched what?
Frames?
No, I'm still using my Twitch frame. I haven't gotten any new ones yet.
You haven't maxed it out or anything?
No.
Oh wow.
No, not that I'm aware of. I'm still gaining levels, so
Okay. I think level 30 is the max on everything.
yeah, I think my Warframe is around 20 or 21 right now.
I need
So
to look into that one of these days.
I got a little bit of way. I got a little ways to go. No, but what I've been playing this week, went back a little bit, and because I've been watching, I don't know why I've been watching them, but a bunch of different Zelda retrospectives from this one channel on YouTube, which at the moment I cannot remember it, or I'd give them a shout out because they're really good videos. And everybody in my house has been playing Breath of the Wild for some reason. So, uh, like Andrew's been playing it, Jake's been playing it, so I went back and I've been playing it a little bit, and had one quest in mind this week, and that was to finish Eventide Island because I hadn't done it yet.
Okay.
That's the one way off in the bottom southeast corner of the map where when you land there, they take away all your stuff,
Yep.
and you have to. There are three pieces to this puzzle that you have to solve. Get the balls and take them over to the little like mini shrine looking things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I did it once, got 2/3 of the way through it, and managed to get the second one. You're supposed to get the second one from the second of the puzzle balls from a Hinox
Yeah.
who's wearing it as a necklace, and managed to get it from him before killing him,
Weird.
put it on the pedestal, got the second part of the puzzle finished, and then something happened and I fell down the mountain right back to the Hinox, and he killed me.
Aw.
And I turned the switch off. I was like, I'm not going to do this again right now. I had just spent 20 minutes sneaking around because I thought I was going to, be underpowered for this island, and it turns out you're not. If you finish the game, you got 15 or 16 hearts and all that stuff. You've got plenty of health to finish the puzzles or to finish the mission pretty easily, unless you meet a Hinox twice and end up getting sat on.
I think I did that fairly early, and it took me multiple tries. He was not an easy fight.
No, the first time I was doing it, I was just throwing bombs at him. I just chuck bombs at him and run away, and chuck a bomb at him and run away. And somehow I managed to knock the necklace off of him and got the ball. Don't really know how I did it.
Whenever I initially did it, you fly over because you're riding the winds from the top of that mountain first.
Hmm.
Land on the little raft right there in front of the island.
Yeah.
It doesn't count against you yet. So while I'm on that, I just throw down all the weapons I can, then step foot onto the island and it takes all your stuff away. Hop back on the
And then go
raft and
back and
grab
get
it
it.
all. Yeah,
I didn't even think about doing that.
yeah. It doesn't count against you. It doesn't make them disappear. The only downside is once you get done, they're taken away. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And I guess what you'd have to do is before you finish that third part of the puzzle, go put the stuff back on the raft. I don't know if that would work or not.
I
And
I don't know. I'd have to test it, but
and then go
I don't feel
finish
like
the
doing
puzzle.
that.
Um, so I died the first time I tried the mission and went back earlier today actually and did it again and managed to beat everybody super quick because Jake reminded me that I could use one of the champion's powers, and if you do that, uh, it kills the Hinox very quickly.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Uh, so I didn't have any problem doing it the second time. Finished that shrine, got the 100 rupee reward for unlocking the shrine, and then turned the game off. So I thought seriously this week about going back and just restarting the whole game, but I haven't completely finished the first playthrough. I've still got like 30 shrines or 29 shrines left at this point that I would need to do to complete, all of the shrines in the game. And I really want to do that. So I decided not to restart the game, and I'm just going back and trying to finish 100% that first playthrough. Well, not 100% because I am not going after 900 Korok seeds.
No, it's not worth it.
So
Did
I'm
they
going to
not?
try to.
Did they not add a new game plus mode? I thought they did at some point.
Not that I know of. If I went to try to start a new game, it says it's going to delete overwrite your previous save.
How dare they?
So, and I haven't bought the DLC yet.
Hmm.
So I haven't done any of the Champions Ballad or anything like that. I really
Yeah,
should
that stuff is tough.
do that at some point.
The Master Sword stuff is tough, I should say.
Yeah. But I mean, that's really all that I've been playing this week. It's just been Brawlhalla because Brawlhalla Days is going on. Warframe because that's the only game I play right now. Yeah, Brawlhalla Days.
And
Okay,
Warframe.
that's pretty clever.
And Warframe Days. Yeah.
Warframe Days, yep. Now the Brawl Holiday stuff is they have Christmas themed skins and Christmas themed colored outfits for the characters and things like that. So, and a special snowball fight mode.
Oh.
So instead of hitting people with swords, you're hitting people with snowballs and trying to score the most points by to win the snowball fight. So, but it's just been Warframe, Brawlhalla, and then a little bit of Breath of the Wild this week. But that is it for me. I guess the one other thing I did want to mention: have either of you guys played Sub Wars on DS? It's that
Subway
free
related.
It's the free to play Steel Diver sequel that came out on the 3DS.
I think so.
Like that game has been the obsession of Andrew this week. That's like all he's been playing. Every day I come home and he tells me about the new submarines he's unlocked and the people he's played against online. Apparently there are still people playing that game online even now 4 years after that game came out, and I didn't think it really gained any kind of player base. But maybe cool. I'm wrong. So but I just thought that was interesting. This game that was 4 years old that I downloaded just to try out once has become an obsession of my child. So I may have to give that a try at some point because I remember enjoying it, but I didn't put a ton of time into it. So, but that is it for me. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back and we will talk about some of the news that happened this week. All right, so Shannon, you and I alluded to this a little bit. Our first news story here this week is in regards to Dragon Quest XI.
Yeah.
Because, I've been saying I'm inching closer and closer. Like, I'm just going to pull the trigger on this PS4 version I've been waiting for the Switch version that they announced before the Switch was out. It was the first NX game that was ever announced was Dragon Quest XI.
Mm-hmm.
And we haven't seen anything on it in a while. And so this week I was that close. I was like, I'm ready to get this game. And then I heard the Jump Festa was happening over the weekend, and Square Enix said, "Hey, you guys want to see some of the Switch version of Dragon Quest XI? Here you go."
Yeah.
They showed off a trailer of the Switch version of Dragon Quest XI that has additional content.
Dang it.
So, yeah, I might have to hold off on that.
Yeah, I'm playing the wrong version. So here, it's not a bad thing. I'm having fun with what I'm currently playing, and I will probably play it to completion on the PS4. Solely because it looks like it's going to be holiday 2019 that it comes out on the Switch in Japan.
So
Probably looking holiday 2020, maybe September 2020 before we see it in the US.
Gosh, I hope it's not that long. Like I want to play this game. The Dragon Quest, top 2 franchises for me of all time, with that and Legend of Zelda. Those are easily my 2 favorite series of all time. And I want to play this game. I want to play this game real bad. But I keep holding out for that Switch version because I know it's coming.
Yeah.
But if it's going to be 2020, which it looks like it may, I doubt we're going to see a worldwide release of what is now being called Dragon Quest XI S.
12 will be out before that.
Don't say that. This is not Kingdom Hearts, man, or Final Fantasy. This is Dragon Quest.
Do you want to hold out for Dragon Quest 13, 2, and 3?
Hey, if lightning shows up in those games,
it could happen. You know, Akira Toriyama could do the art. Well, he doesn't do art anymore, does he? Yeah.
So
I'm very curious what they'll end up calling it in the States, because surely they're not going to call it Dragon Quest XI S in the States.
I don't know. I just want to see the game over here on the Switch. I don't care what they call it. I just know it's going to be Dragon Quest XI.
I'm very curious if you were bummed out by what you saw in that trailer.
Why?
Like I was very much hoping for the 3DS version, the top-down 2D, to be what you see when you're playing in portable mode or handheld mode, and then when you put it on the dock, you get the full 3D experience on the TV.
Oh, that would have been fantastic.
Yeah, I mean that's what I was hoping for, and that is not what we saw.
Because we're not going to get the 3DS version over here. It's just not going to happen.
I know.
So I would have loved to have seen something like that. But ultimately, in the end, I don't care. I'm going to play Dragon Quest XI regardless of whether I'm getting the 3DS version or the Switch version or the PS4 version. But it would have been a nice touch, or at least giving you the option to say, hey, I'd like to play the 3DS version of the game if I'm in portable mode.
That's true. You know what? There's still plenty of room or plenty of opportunity for them to reveal something like that. So
that's true. So we'll see. We got some time.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. And we will definitely keep everybody up to date on when that game is going to come out over here.
And like I said, my enjoyment at this point on PS4, I will finish it on PS4, and will definitely play it again on Switch whenever it comes out, because it's, especially if they're adding more content. I'm finding myself playing the PS4 version, spending more time just kind of exploring and looking at bookshelves and looking at closets and looting homes and pillaging the town, just because I want to find everything. So
yeah, like I don't want to double dip, but I may. I've been watching, like I said, a bunch of videos of the PS4 version of the game this week, and just looking at that game in motion and seeing things like the lighting effects of that game are phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to play that game really bad. But the Switch version's coming. It is. And I know it's coming.
I'm going to tell you now, it's over a year away.
I know.
I hate to
I know.
say that, but yeah.
I know, and that's what bums me out the most is I still would have to wait a long time to
Yep,
play that game on Switch. So, and looking at the games side by side, visually you can tell it's definitely getting downgraded a little bit. It's not as sharp as the PS4 version, but it still looks really good. So
it does.
I don't know if you've looked at any of the comparison side by side type shots.
I did, and that's the biggest thing though. I mean, they're going from, I think it's 1080 on the PS4, and they're downgrading it to a 720
Yeah,
for the Switch.
which is fine. I don't care.
Yeah,
It still
there's
looks
nothing
really
wrong with
good.
that.
It still looks really good.
Yep.
So, we'll see what happens. Am I gonna break down and get the game before it comes to Switch?
Yes.
We'll find out.
I'm
Probably.
gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you right now. It'll end up hitting that sub 20 mark.
And
Mark
at that point,
within.
it would be very difficult to say,
Yeah.
I should still wait. But at
Yeah.
less than $20, when it gets to that point, there's no way I could say no to that.
Yeah. I mean, we're at Christmas time, and it's what, 4 months
It's
past release,
and
and
it's
it's already
35 right now.
35 right now. It was what, 27, 25, something like that, right on Black Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'll be there. Give it a few months.
All right. We'll see. And then Ethan, you sent over this little bit of news, a little bit of sad news in the podcast world.
Yeah, Super Best Friends have pretty much ended their show, which was been going. They've ended their podcast, which has been changed to Castle Super Beast, I believe is what it is now. I'm, I'm not sure what that is yet. It's something I think Pat and Wooly are doing, maybe. But they've ended their YouTube channel, and their main podcast is over. The main issue was Pat and Matt, who started it, they were uh, no they were no longer the best of, or super best friends that they were when they started, I guess.
Hmm.
So basically, just ending it so they could preserve what friendship is there and probably save
Yeah.
possible future for it to be better.
It makes sense. I've not been a follower of them. I know who they are, but I've not listened to any of their podcasts or anything like that. I know both of you guys have.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I stopped listening to their podcast years ago because I got tired of listening to the language. Like eh,
Yeah, they didn't hold back on the language, but I stopped listening because changes at my job where I didn't have the ability to sit down and listen to something while doing work off in the
mhm.
back. I don't have that option anymore, so usually I would just pull up their podcast and listen to an episode while making a long drive here and there, but that was months apart.
Yeah.
So yeah, 9 years of just super best friends videos, 9 years worth of that just gone, and or not gone but over now.
Yeah.
And I don't know how long they were just doing the two best friends play with Machinima before that, but I think I was in
I'm
college at that time still.
one thing. One thing I will say is they were always my go-to as far as getting an opinion on a fighting game before I actually drop money on it one.
Hmm.
Yeah,
So I mean, they're Friday Night Fisticuffs. They always those videos, they went into some really deep technical uh, um, looks at games, especially when, like, one horrible thing with fighting games is you get those marginal upgrades. So you'll go from like Guilty Gear Exard Sign to Exard Revelator to Exard Revelator 2.
hmm
And it's, I sit and I go, okay, do I really want to get this game? Well, on release day, they usually would have a video up where they're like, okay, this is the comparison, this is what's changed, this is the reason why this is here. So
and if they
it'll be
didn't have it up
disappointing.
that week, there is a good chance it would be up the following week when they've unlocked additional characters to play as.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Which is what everyone was hoping for with Smash, and then they even said in their video, it's like, well, someone didn't take their time this morning to do it, talking to about Wooly, and then here we are a week later. They're like, no fisticuffs this week. And that's weird. And then that Sunday morning, you see that video, and it's like, oh, it's over.
Yeah. And it's a bad thing, but at the same time, there comes a point when you just realize it's time to move on.
Yeah, we kind of did the same thing a few months ago with Nintendo Oki.
Yeah.
Just kind of, it's over, it's done with. Here's the new stuff, and yeah.
So, yeah. So if you were a Super Band's Best Friends listener, you probably have heard this news already.
Yeah, probably. If not, well, you have now.
And then the last little bit of news that I wanted to talk about this week is something a news story I've been paying attention to for the last couple of weeks now, and that is Soulja Boy getting into the video games business and releasing his own systems. Well, sort of. Because really what he's doing is he's just attaching his name to some Chinese consoles that have been out for a while now. But he is selling them, and he's put his name on them, and they are garbage. Like I've watched some videos of some people who have gotten these things because they know they're garbage, but they wanted to see just what exactly they were. And it's basically, it's not even that. That's a Retro Pie inside of, and it's not. I don't even think it's as good as a Retro Pie.
Probably not.
Like some of the gameplay has shown some really bad emulation of NES games, Genesis games, and some other systems.
Did he have the people from At Games or something?
No, I don't think so. I think At Games systems are even better than these Soulja Boy consoles.
Good.
So, but yeah, he's selling them. He's got a couple different systems available right now. One that looks like an old original Game Boy that is called the Retro Soulja Boy Mini that he's selling for $100. That comes with emulated games on it. There's another one that looks sort of like a GBA, but it's got more buttons than a GBA. So it's like between a GBA and a DS, but it's only got one screen that he's selling for $113. And then the best one of all, the Soulja Game Fuse, which if you look at it, looks like an Xbox One or a PS4 Pro. And he's selling that for $400.
Yeah, it looked really close to the Xbox One without a disc drive.
Yeah, it comes with 2 controllers, a bunch of games that I think are the same games that are in the handheld systems.
Same ones that are on everything else.
But he's selling them for $400. The one, I guess, upside to this is it does come with an SD card slot, so you could put more games on there if you want. But there are number one, there are way better ways to get, emulation onto a system, onto your TV if you want, than buying these things. And some of them, he says they come with over 3,000 games on the system. And you can imagine some game companies didn't take too kindly to this.
Such as?
Nintendo.
Excellent.
Because he's selling these systems with emulated NES games on them. I mean, it's NES games and Capcom games and Tecmo games, Konami games, any of the big names, their games are on here. And I guarantee he has not asked permission of any of these companies to put these games on these systems. And that's a big no-no.
Yeah.
Very much so.
And so Nintendo is threatening legal action.
So wait. So what you mean to tell me is this Soulja Boy console is better than the PlayStation Classic? More content than the PlayStation Classic.
It has way more content than the PlayStation Classic, yes.
All right. Sorry, that was a low blow. It's terrible that he's doing what he's doing, but anyway.
But to be fair, his system is 3 times as expensive as the PlayStation Classic.
Yeah,
So
yeah, good point. Unjustifiably so, because it. I just watched, like, in the break, I watched a teardown of one of these things, and it literally is just a tiny board with an
Yeah.
SD card plugged into it with all of this stuff on it. It's
yeah,
ridiculous.
no, it very much is the size of a retro, a Raspberry Pi
Yeah.
inside an Xbox One shell.
Mhm.
So when people get these things and they've spent, $400 on it or whatever, it weighs about as much as a Kindle Fire, if that much, and
Mhm.
it's the size of an Xbox One. He's not released an official list of the games that are on there, but there are, thousands of games on there, and he has been on Twitter just praising the heck out of this system. Like when the first person bought one, he tweeted out that someone had bought them. He was tears of joy. Thank you so much for your support. I promise to continue my tech company, evolve it in the gaming world. I'm just a kid with a dream.
And he was the first one to buy his own console.
Probably. He says he's made over, within 24 hours, he had made $250,000 on the console. At now, he's saying earlier today, or not earlier today, but earlier this week, said that he had sold 5 million units of this thing, and that he is not afraid of Nintendo. If Nintendo was going to do something, they would have done it on the first day. My console's not going anywhere. Everything I'm doing is 100% legit. Yeah. Reality's about to hit Soldier Boy pretty hard. And not only is Nintendo threatening legal action, but he could end up in jail because of this. So it's funny and sad all at the same time because
Yes.
he has no business doing this. And he should have looked into this a little bit more before he slapped his name on these consoles. But he's like doubling down on everything. He's like, I'm in it. We're doing it.
I
It's
look forward to his
100%
conference
legit.
at E3.
He could fill that void that we're gonna have from Sony not being there.
Yeah, he'd show off his possible future console at that point.
That's right. The Soldier Fuse 2.
Oh my gosh.
So.
I don't know. I heard it's not backwards compatible.
Yeah. There you go. So, but yeah, I've watched a ton of different videos of people tearing these things down, looking at them, going into, exactly the reasons and ramifications as to what could happen to him. And it's like up to 20 years in prison because of the laws that he's breaking, selling these systems with his name attached to them.
I could
So,
see him getting away selling that just like in a certain Chinese market area.
yeah, but
But
he's
yeah.
putting these things out there for the entire world.
Oh well.
So, this story is, I think, far from over. Because depending on how much he's actually sold, I don't think Nintendo's going to be very lenient in this, and they're going to go hard after these systems.
Well, I mean, Nintendo, they don't skip on their legal action.
That's true. That is true. So we shall see. But that's it for this week's news. And I just wanted to. This is the end of the year, so we're doing some of our year-end shows. I wanted to go over some of the biggest news stories that happened this year, and then also ask the listeners for a bunch of what they thought were the biggest stories of the year. And we got quite a bit of feedback for that. So let's take a minute here and we'll go over some. Oh, yeah. Thanks for that. Just live editing the show notes As we do the show, Ethan, thanks.
You're welcome.
Bowsette is the biggest news story of the year, according to Ethan. So,
I was trying to find stuff earlier today, and that was one of the things on a year-end review.
obviously, and I don't have a full list. There's no way we could go over, the entire year in just a few minutes. Um, but some of the biggest things I thought with the Telltale Games closure this year,
Yeah.
that just it sort of came out of nowhere.
Yeah, especially like the day they had a game come out or something, right?
Yeah, and they had some stuff that was I don't remember if it was the day of or if it was very soon after, but yeah, some of the Walking Dead stuff. Minecraft story mode actually did come out and released on Netflix, and you can play that. And I did play that a little bit this week to see exactly how that worked. And it's Minecraft story mode. You make all the same decisions that you do in the game. It's not as smooth or as uh, free flowing as the console versions, I guess. Every time you make a decision, there's a short 1 or 2 second loading screen as it finds the spot in um, the play where you need to go for that decision that you've made.
Wait. This is on Netflix, an interactive video on Netflix?
It is
Yep.
on Netflix.
Weird.
So yeah, they
I guess
released this game to Netflix.
I'm
Huh.
guessing it handles kind of like a CDI game where you have like a minimum input over what's going on there, but what
Yeah,
it's
I
really
think
doing is just playing a video.
it's taken away all of the sections where you have direct control over the character, because there are some of that where you can move around and sort of interact with the environment. And it just gives you basically like menus that you can move around, um, to pick, look at different things. And then at the points in the conversation where you can make a decision, it pops them up. You push left or right on your remote control. You have to have something that has a remote control in it. So like a Roku or an Amazon Fire Stick. I think it does work on some newer iPads, which is the only like touch based thing that I saw it would work on. It didn't work on my phone. It didn't work on my tablet. I have a Kindle Fire. Um, it worked on my Roku. It worked on the Fire Stick. It works on the PS4. All of
Sweet.
those things. There's a little icon that shows up if you're searching through your Netflix library and you see Minecraft Story Mode. There'll be like a little flag that shows up in the top right corner of the box art with a controller, and that tells you that it works on that device. So like that icon is missing on my phone, but when I turn it on the PlayStation or the Roku, that little icon shows up, and you can actually play the game on Netflix on your TV on those devices.
That's very cool. I didn't know that was a thing.
So yeah, and it is just like the game. The only thing is it doesn't have the entire 8 episodes. It's only got the first 5 that were released. It doesn't have any of the DLC sort of standalone stories. So it's just the 5 episode main story.
You know what I would love to see is I would love to now knowing that this is a thing. I would love to see Netflix go back and get the contracts for or the licenses for like Space Ace and Dragon's Lair and all of these other games that would work like that.
Yeah,
That would be awesome.
Dragon's Lair would be a good fit.
Yeah.
As long as they're a little nicer with the timing, because that game required some insane timing to work properly.
Yes, it did.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, but the Telltale closure was a big story that came out this year, and they're still working with a skeleton crew, but that studio is more or less gone at this point. So another big one that I saw was Sony finally allowing limited crossplay this year.
Thank you,
And
Fortnite.
yeah, it took Fortnite to do it, and even then, Sony dragged their heels for quite a while before they finally allowed it. And I don't think even still it's been fully implemented. I think they delayed it into early next year. But if you were a part of that beta, you were finally playing cross-play between Microsoft, Nintendo, PC, and PlayStation in Fortnite.
Maybe one of these days we can do that with Warframe.
Maybe that would be really nice.
Yeah.
Once they get that, content complete across all the systems, I think that is more likely to happen at that point. So, and then also Sony allowing you to finally change your PlayStation ID.
Oh, that's already come out?
Yep.
Yep.
Dang.
What is it, $10, or do you get one for free?
I think if you're a Plus member, you get your first one for free, and then it's $10 thereafter if you do it.
Yeah.
But it's still it will not reflect on games past a certain point of old. So like stuff on PS3, a lot of titles on PS3 won't honor your old PSN ID.
So does it still show your old one?
From what I understand, yeah, like you'll still be logged in with your email, but when you play stuff on older systems, or if you play there's even some PS4 games that aren't reflecting your current whatever your current PSN ID is, because they're doing some weird attaching. So I don't know what it is they're doing with the framework, but they're basically like putting a post-it note over top of, like a digital post-it note over top of your original PSN ID, because they're not erasing and replacing, they are just sticking this new one over top of it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I thought for a little while about changing mine, but I didn't do it, and I've kept my old one that I've had forever.
I imagine there's plenty of episodes of Beyond that ended with some horrendous PSN IDs. Like that was a thing for years, where they would end those episodes with just calling out some horrible PSN
the most
IDs.
offensive PSN IDs they could find.
Yeah, I mean it's terrible. So I am absolutely sure there are tons of people who are very, very pleased this is a thing.
And then also one of the other ones that I thought was really big this year was Microsoft buying everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you were an independent studio and you weren't owned by somebody else, Microsoft was going to try to buy you.
That, you know what, they're doing it smart. They are getting more and more content because they can't make it on their own.
It's true. That's not a people have for a while now have been complaining about Microsoft's first party output and just how little there is.
Yeah.
And the best way to do it is just to buy the people that are making the games and bring them in house and say, hey, make the games. We're just going to attach our name to it. So this started really at E3 when they announced 5 acquisitions they'd made. And then throughout the rest of the year, they talked about more and more of the different studios they bought, like Undead Labs, Playground Games, Ninja Theory, In Exile, and Obsidian were some of the bigger names that they bought this year.
Yeah.
So Microsoft really trying hard to make sure people know that they're serious about putting out as much first party content as they can.
As long as they don't buy Platinum Games, I'm fine with it.
Exactly.
We don't
I want
need
Platinum
them canceling any more games from them.
I want Platinum to keep doing what they do and working with everybody, because they try to spread themselves across all the different systems as much as they can. Multi-platform where it makes sense, exclusive where it makes sense. So they need to keep doing what they're doing and not be tied down to one specific platform. Let's see some other big stuff.
So I've actually got a couple of two big ones that for me this year. So we got 2 Taiko games brought to the West this year.
That is true. We did one for the PS4 and one for the Switch.
Yep, and it's been since early PS2 days since we had that happen. So, it kind of stinks that Bandai Namco US only gave us digital copies and didn't give us the drum controllers, but they at least made it accessible to some form here in the States. So that's huge. And then I think we also got, I know we got two. I know we had Yakuza 6 and Yakuza Kiwami 2. Did Yakuza 0 come out this year, or was that late last year?
I want to say that was very early this year, but I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, I mean, within 12 months, we got 3 Yakuza games this year in the West, which is amazing. So
yeah.
It came out. Wait. January 2017.
Oh, okay. My bad.
Yakuza 0, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It did come out on Windows August 1st this year, though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
When was Kiwami 1? Maybe I'm thinking of Kiwami 1 came out.
Yakuza Key came out in 2017.
2017. Okay.
Okay.
Never mind. But still, it's amazing. We got 2 Yakuza games this year. So
We've all played a lot of Yakuza, so
yep, it all runs together, kind of. So, but
let's see. Yuji Naka joined Square Enix this year. I had forgotten about that. That happened in January.
Really?
Yeah.
Sorry for the
Undertale
delayed
came to
reaction.
Switch.
Undertale did come to Switch, yes.
And I still haven't played it.
You're doing it wrong. You're not
Shannon
living
will
life.
play Warframe when you play Undertale.
You know what? I'll agree to that.
It has no effect on me either way, so that's why I
Great.
say it.
And Shannon's never going to play Warframe.
Yes, because that's the major concern here.
Vivendi, for what seemed like ever, tried to buy Ubisoft, and then they finally gave up this year.
About time.
Cliff Bleszinski's studio shut down in May after they tried very hard to get into the, free to play.
They were trying to do the, Battle Royale stuff.
They were trying to do the Battle Royale game, and it did not do well at all.
And all their people were getting hired off to work on Fortnite.
And so that studio shut down, and I don't think Cliffy B has done anything since. I think he's sort of been taking a break.
Didn't he say he's like done with games or something at that point?
He said that before.
Oh, okay. Well,
I mean, he really could be, done, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, he's more or less, he's been like, you know what, I've got, the money, I'm just going to retire. We shall see. We shall see. Back in August, if you want to talk about some sad news that happened, there was that shooting at the Madden tournament where one of the guys that lost came back and started shooting the place up and killed 2 people.
Yeah.
sadness.
That was in Jacksonville, which was terrible. What else happened this year? Any other big news stories? I mean, the Game Awards that, happened in November before the year was over.
No Man's Sky got multiplayer. Actual
No Man's Sky
multiplayer.
became good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The rest
Yeah.
of the game came out, yeah.
There was that. Warframe came to Switch. I don't know if you guys have heard that. And then Red Dead sort of took over the world.
Steam's finally getting competition.
Yes, that is sort of huge with a couple of different places.
Yes.
Epic Games is throwing their hat in the ring. Did Discord start this year?
Yes, that started 2 months ago or something.
Yeah.
3?
So Discord now has a store. Epic Games has a store, and then of course Twitch. Twitch still has their store, I think.
Yep, still getting free games on there every month.
Yeah. So that's really going to be interesting to watch over the next couple of years to see if they can take some of that market away from Steam and just what exactly goes on with that digital space on PC.
As long as they don't try to do what was it, Bethesda for Fallout 76? The game has its own, like, their own store and launcher for that, so that no one can get refunds or something.
That game has just been a mess.
Yeah.
And I saw earlier today that Bethesda's starting to give out free games as compensation for people who've been playing Fallout 76 because it's been having so many issues.
Have a copy of Skyrim for your toaster.
There you go. There you go. But yeah, and then Nintendo released another mobile game this year, in Dragalia Lost. So if you've been following the Nintendo space, there you go. But are there any other big news stories that you guys can think of that happened before we?
Some of the ones I found we were already talking about anyway.
Yeah. So like I said,
there's that Bowsette thing, of course.
Of course, Bowsette took over the internet this year.
Smash Brothers came out this year.
Smash Brothers did come out. And it is the ultimate version of Smash Brothers.
Isabelle is finally a fighter.
Every character was available, and then they announced new characters.
Yep.
Coming next year.
Oh, Joker's coming. I still can't believe that's a thing.
I still want that announcement of P5 on Switch, because you know that's got to happen.
Yep.
It's got to happen. So, but like I said earlier, we did ask the listeners to give us some of their thoughts on what some of the biggest news of the year was. So let's go through some of that. Chris via Facebook said the biggest news for him had to be Soulja Boy releasing his own, in quotes, gaming console. So we talked a little bit about that. Lang via Facebook, he has a long one, so be prepared. He wanted me to read the whole thing. He said the biggest thing this year for him was Fortnite. Like it or hate it, it's definitely one of the most influential games of the year. The aesthetic decision to make the game cel-shaded and cartoonish is the best decision Epic ever made. Battle Royale being a free beta for Save the World was probably just a happy happenstance, and I still want to play Save the World. That's not free to play yet. But I want to play that. With the shift in the industry, every major studio jumped on board to get a piece of that pie. Just in the past several years, it was Call of Duty, Minecraft, League of Legends, DayZ, and Overwatch. I believe it was Cliffy B that said there can only be 3 major titles per genre that can exist at a time on top. Some may do with success, like Call of Duty Blackout, and the others ended up in bankruptcy, like Cliffy B's Boss Keys. Boss Key Productions. And publishers and developers are still trying their hand at the Battle Royale genre. Next, with YouTube's ridiculous content curation and demonetization, more realistic shooters definitely took a hit, and with being at the right moment at the right time, Fortnite was able to fill the shooter content and still be more monetizable as opposed to games like Call of Duty or PUBG. Along with being cel-shaded and cartoonish, every content creator who makes content for a younger audience jumped on the game. That was a huge thing. Like, everybody started making Fortnite videos this year. Mm-hmm. If you watched anybody on YouTube, they probably had a Fortnite video. If it's not realistic looking, then it could fool non-suspecting parents who don't monitor what their children watch on YouTube. The limitless possibility nature of the game made for easy content as well as being an enjoyable game to play. One thing in the video game industry is that if you get the kids, you get the money, and Fortnite got the kids. If you see a group of kids from elementary to middle school, guarantee that at least one of them knows how to floss. Oh my gosh, the Fortnite dances.
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna tell you right now, the birthday party for the 11-year-old I went to, a week and a half ago, was a Fortnite party. So, yeah.
And now everybody's suing because everybody says their dance is being stolen for Fortnite. So I think there have been at least three people who have said they're suing Epic Games for stealing their dance, including Alfonso Ribeiro.
Like he's the main one, and that I
So
heard. There's the one for the
that
floss dance, and the,
the backpack kid.
yeah, which I guess it's fine because it's in Destiny, and that one went through the proper channels.
And that's not his dance. He stole that from somebody else. There's video of somebody doing that same dance years ago. So
Hmm.
that's not his. Alfonso Ribeiro has been on video saying he stole his dance from Courtney Cox, from
Uh,
a Bruce Springsteen video or something.
uh, oh, I forgot his name from Scrubs. He has a dance in there too,
Yeah.
and he's not happy about that.
So, like, I don't see these dance lawsuits going anywhere, but that's a different story. Um, let's see where we're. With my time running different events at Microsoft Store, Fortnite is one of the most requested games that the kids want to play. They had to lock down the online store on their computer and Xbox since kids that got dropped off there knew how to find, install, and play the game. With just about every child playing Fortnite, Fortnite is in every household with a child. You got kids talking about Fortnite, which brings it up to the parents, and now parents are talking about Fortnite. They bring it up to their coworker and friends, and now everybody's talking about Fortnite. What was Minecraft being everywhere is now Fortnite everywhere.
Yep.
So, while I don't think Fortnite is the game of the year, it's definitely the most influential game of the year, and I think that is absolutely true.
Sure.
Fortnite was everywhere, and everybody was talking about it. Like even I was on the Fortnite train for a while. I've since gotten off the Fortnite train, but it even got me for a little while. So
I never started.
that was
Neither
the
did
best.
I.
That was the best decision you ever made, I think. I do still want to play Save the World, and once that becomes free to play, I'll probably play that because that's more of that co-op, Left 4 Dead style game that I want to play. But as far as battle royale, yeah, I think I'm done at this point with that.
There's that JoJo game that was announced this week with the battle royale.
JoJo getting a battle royale game, yeah.
Yeah, that actually will probably be pretty fun.
So, Jason via Facebook says loot boxes in video games were a hot topic this year.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
and it looks like maybe loot boxes are starting to go away in some form.
I think after
So,
making such a big deal about them, other than like EA and some other people, it's just kind of died down now.
yeah. He wants to know what's our opinion on mobile gaming. Do we think it'll ever eventually replace consoles? Is it a cesspool and sin of game development? What do you see as the pros versus the cons? What could be done better? Um,
So
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, like my biggest complaint is when a game comes out as free and in incentivizes people to dump money into it. I
Yeah.
would much rather somebody charge me an upfront and then
Give you the whole game.
yeah, well, not just give me the whole game, but give me the same advantage as everyone else who bought the game. I don't
Mhm.
like it
Pay to
when
win.
a game, yeah, you're paying to win or you're paying to have an upper hand. That's the thing that always strikes me as dirty with a lot of mobile stuff, or especially with the free to play model that has worked its way from mobile. If you guys, I
Into
mean,
yeah.
5 years ago, this kind of game like Warframe or Fortnite, this stuff didn't exist on consoles. So
Yeah.
If you think about it another way, like the free, not it. What is it called now? Free to start. That's what it
free to
Yeah.
is.
start, yeah.
Yeah, if you think of them as like the demo disc that we get back in the days, or even the demos you could still can download on modern systems, where it's like you've
Mhm.
downloaded the full game. It's just you have to, if you want to play more than the 1 hour that you have access to, it's like drop
Yeah.
some money in there and you have to play it. The only
But at
difference,
least that,
the main difference being that the mobile games, like a lot of people don't want to pay the $1 for a game. They're like, oh, that's too much. versus what we spend on a game would be like 40 to 60 bucks.
Well, and even still, mobile games don't give you the option, even after you've played for an hour, to say, okay, I want to play this game. Here's some money. Give me the whole game. Um, Nintendo was for a little while very good at that, or at least capping the amount of money that you could put into a game before they were like, okay, you've spent this much money. Now you have access to everything.
Yeah.
My biggest hang up with mobile gaming is and still continues to be control. Like
Yeah.
I have not seen a mobile game, number one, that controls, with few exceptions, that controls very well. I don't want to play games using a touch interface. I want an actual controller. You're not going to get those big console type experiences on a mobile device until you have some way to control it better.
Mm-hmm.
There's no doubt and no denying that phones at this point are powerful enough to play console style games. Most phones, or many new phones that come out now, are more powerful than the Switch, but they run into the problems of, if you have this thing running in a gaming mode all the time, it gets really hot, it drains your battery really fast. There's no real way to control it like you would a Switch. And then what do you do when you get a phone call? Do you just pause the game? Do you, if you're playing something like Fortnite that's online, you get a phone call, what happens?
Mm-hmm.
Game over,
Because
man.
you can't pause Fortnite, but you need to be able to pause a game to take a phone call if you get a phone call in the middle of it. So there are still a lot of hurdles to mobile gaming replacing dedicated video game systems. So, you guys have any other thoughts on those?
No, not really.
Nope.
Stuart via Facebook, and this is one I think, Ethan, you know a lot about. His biggest gripe, he says, is about the Sony policy change related to Japanese games, especially games like visual novels. It's a stark contrast to Valve's anything goes policy.
So the best example for this is the Senran Kagura series. They have a new game coming out in about a month from now,
Mm-hmm.
and there's an entire mode that Sony just up and said, get rid of that mode, or the game's not coming out on this console. And I think the developers said that the game was ready to be launched like at that day and everything. But I mean, it wasn't the time they were gonna release it. They just said it was good to go. But now they had to go and remove that entire mode out of the game. I think it was like a date sim mode or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But over on the Steam side, the game's coming out the same day as or it still has a planned release date as well, and it's gonna have that mode on there. And there's just been some other things like that going on with some other developers apparently, and also having to uh, submit documents to Sony. That all has to be in English now instead of like their native language for even in Japan. So these people are having to take time to translate stuff to English now. It's kind of a mess, really. It's some kind of weird uh, abiding by standards in every country that Sony's trying to adapt now.
Yeah.
And
So
so
they're trying to make it so that they can have the exact same game in every region, is what it sounds like.
which is horrible to do. Just to up and do it one day and not, test the waters first, see how it's gonna work.
Yeah.
Because you
So
have like let's see, China doesn't like skeletons in games, so like World of Warcraft, every skeleton in that game is replaced with a zombie. Australia's got a really harsh rating system,
yeah.
so just like those two places alone, that's like splitting your game library in a quarter, if not less. Uh, it's not good.
So,
But
and that's
that's
something I hadn't heard about, so I hadn't really seen any of this information with Sony's policy change.
I think
So
they
I didn't
said they
know.
were gonna think it back over after all the fan feedback they got on there. That
Yeah.
it got quite a big hit on there.
Okay. That's interesting. I'm gonna need to look into that a little bit more and see exactly what's going on with that. But it does sound like, they want to make sure that all of their games can come out everywhere. So think about your game, and it's almost like you have to develop towards the lowest common denominator in terms of which regions you're wanting to come out. And so if you want a game to come out in Australia and Japan, who have two very different sets of standards, you have to develop it for the Australia region and then bring that game out everywhere.
Yeah. It. Mm.
So
Uh, some. What was it? Saints Row 4. There was like a whole scene that just couldn't be in the game because of Australia, so that thing got cut. South Park, the first, what was that first South Park game, Shannon? Stick of Truth.
Stick of Truth. Yeah, they
yep.
had in Australia, like the scenes that got cut because of the regional restrictions. They just put a picture of a crying panda and then explained what would have happened in the scene, rather than actually showing.
Yeah,
It was ridiculous.
it was very tongue in cheek, but it was like a great point being made there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, thanks Australia.
And then lastly, our last one comes from Cole via Facebook, who says the biggest thing for him was the change from Nintendo Oki to procedurally generated,
Good point.
which was a big thing.
And a big change for all of us.
I like
It
the
has.
abbreviation from no to PG.
And there's still plenty of potential for what procedurally generated is going to do in the future. We're just going to have to see what's coming. I know Ethan and I have some ideas for a new show that we're working on. We've been talking about it for a while. It needs to actually happen.
Yeah, I have like part of a script thing planned out, but only part.
Yeah. And then his questions are: do we have any gaming New Year's resolutions?
So I guess I might as well share it here. My biggest resolution is I am going to move all of my portable RPG stuff to now playing at the gym. So I have a gym membership. I am trying to force myself to use it. I really enjoy riding on the stationary bike.
Mm-hmm.
They have a Peloton at the gym, and my plan is to play through Xenoblade Chronicles only at the gym while I am on the exercise bike. So I figure that is
Which game are you playing?
Xenoblade Chronicles 3D.
Okay.
That's the goal. That is I am going to start with that.
That's a good long game to start with.
That's like I started it about 6 months ago or something. Played for maybe 5 or 6 hours. I got out of the first main town, like where you're sent on your exploration, and then I don't know where I fell off, but my goal is if I'm going to lose weight, I need to find a way to force myself to actually want to sit on an exercise bike or go walk on a treadmill or something. So if I'm going to do it, this is probably the way to make myself do it.
Yeah.
So
it is
I'll
a good way.
play Xenoblade in maybe hour or 2 hour chunks a couple times a week, and only in that one environment. So
Your shoulders will be so sweaty.
yeah, I know. Like I was talking with Shelby about this. I'm probably going to play it on a 2DS with a wrist strap on. That way I don't have to worry about dropping the system or funking up my nice 3DS with the faceplates. So I think that's going to be what happens.
Find some way like strap the Switch to a thing and have like the Joy Cons in each hand while you do running on a treadmill.
Maybe it's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't really have any resolutions. I haven't really thought, what is something I need to do in terms of video games in the new year. Uh, are there any games that we're looking forward to coming out next year?
Yeah,
Probably.
absolutely.
I have two that spring to mind immediately, and that is the Switch version of Dragon Quest XI.
2020.
I hope it's 2019, but it's probably 2020. And Luigi's Mansion.
So I am most looking forward to. We've got Ace Combat 7 coming with PSVR support, which looks like it's going to be amazing.
Oh gosh,
Uh,
nightmares of the Eve Online game I played with the VR. No, was it Eve? Is Eve that space game?
the Eve Valkyrie.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm I'm really looking forward to being a first-person fighter pilot and
It's a trip,
taking.
man.
Man, I'm so pumped. I'm pumped to the point where if I see one of those HOTAS sticks go on sale, I may actually get it just to further deepen that experience. Um, but yeah, that comes out like January 18th, and then we have Kingdom Hearts 3, which could still be delayed. I
That
sure
game's
hope
not
it
coming out.
isn't.
That game's still not coming out.
It's
Game's
it's
a myth.
January 31st, so we're just about a month away at this point.
Ah, 2020, January
Oh,
31st, 2020.
oh, don't do me like
Dragon
that.
Quest XI will come to the Switch before Kingdom Hearts comes out.
I don't know, man. Like I'm very pumped for Kingdom Hearts. I need to finish Dragon Quest before Kingdom Hearts comes out.
I did think of one more though that I can't believe I forgot off the top of my head. Fire Emblem Three Houses comes out in 2019.
Death
Which,
Stranding or whatever, the new Kojima game. That's what I'm
yeah,
looking forward to.
Anthem comes out in 2019.
Oh yeah, that'll be fun. Probably, maybe. I don't know. Didn't play the alpha whenever I had access to it.
I think Square's got a bunch of Final Fantasy games they're bringing to the Switch next year.
13.4.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen.
Oh,
Um, I wish they'd bring 13, the 13 trilogy to the Switch.
I'm not
But
playing
no,
it again.
is it 7, 8, 10, and 10 2? I believe.
Seven. It's 7-9. They
Is it
skipped it.
7,
Yeah.
9? I thought they skipped 9. I thought it was 7, 8, and 10.
No, they skipped 8. I'm pretty sure. Wait, wait. Is it 9?
I think it's 7, 8, and 10 2 that are coming.
Final. You know, I don't even feel like looking it up. There was one of the games I made a big deal about it. And
Oh, no, it is 8. You're right.
yes,
It's 7, 9, 10, and 10 2 are coming to the Switch.
I know
yeah.
that 12 is coming to the Switch.
I wish 8
I
was
know-
coming to Switch.
So, yeah. Any other games that you guys are looking forward to?
Not particularly.
And then lastly, he says, "Are there any hopes that we have for the holiday season?"
Uh,
I am hoping for the safe and healthy birth of my daughter.
Yes, that is, I think the biggest thing for you right there.
Yep. Yep. Callie Marie Reifenberg.
really?
Yeah, for real.
Nice.
Yep.
Name approved by my wife.
Does she know?
Yes, she knows. When she said she liked the name, I was like, okay, well, we need to have a serious conversation because this may come up at some point. You need to be able to understand what somebody might be talking about. So,
We have named our daughter after Splatoon characters.
yep, she's gonna be our squid kid.
There you go.
Travis Touchdown and Callie Marie.
I am very, very much looking forward to seeing my kids have a very good Christmas. We've got some stuff that I think they'll really like this year. Some of it video game related, some of it not.
There's, I will say the first. I mean, I think it was Travis, as at 3 years old, was when it finally started clicking as a parent why Christmas means a whole lot as a parent.
Yeah.
So like, you finally get to that point where it just you really feel gosh, I don't know where I'm going with that. Like you get those dad feels.
It's that point where Christmas becomes not such a big thing for you personally, but for you seeing the way your kids enjoy the holidays.
Seeing it from his perspective.
Yeah. So, what about you, Ethan? You got any hopes for the holidays?
Not really. I mean, my cat was sleeping on my bed earlier, and I took the presents I haven't wrapped up and built a fort around her.
There you go. So, well, all right. Well, that will be the show for this week, and the show is coming out on Christmas. So, Merry Christmas to everybody out there who is listening or watching. I hope you got the things you wanted, your kids had a fun time, and that everybody was safe.
Yes.
Thank you, Shannon, for being on the show this week.
Merry Christmas.
And if you very quickly vanish from the show for a few weeks, we know what happened. So that is impending probably by the end of the week as people are listening to this, I would imagine.
Absolutely. Yep.
So, and then Ethan, thank you for being on the show as well this week.
Happy Hanukkah, since someone took the Merry Christmas.
There you go.
It's only funny because Ethan sent me a Happy Hanukkah card.
Oh, did he?
Yes.
He did.
If you want to reach out to us, we have tons of new ways to do so. You can email us at podcast@procgent.com. That's PROCGENT.com. You can send us a voicemail if you want by clicking on the voicemail link on the right side of the website. You can send us voicemails up to 90 seconds in length, and we'll play those on future episodes of the show and respond to the questions that you have. If you like what we do here, you can now support us on Patreon, patreon.com/pgint. Patreon supporters will get a video version of the podcast a day early. These will normally go out on Tuesdays. Patreon supporters will get them on Monday. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/progenint. Check out our YouTube channel that we've got and see the content we've got going on up there. And then we still do have the Facebook group where you can interact with us on a daily basis as well.